Hey there. Before we get started, I just wanted to come on and ask you all a favor. In our research, we've discovered that the vast majority of you do not actually like and subscribe to our podcast. And so, if I could ask you to do so, I won't ask you for anything else. And I promise to make this podcast the best I can every day. Me and the team really strive to do that for you. And so, if you could do this for us, we would be eternally grateful. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Mickelle Weber, founder and auteur of House of Peregrine. Expat, immigrant, pioneer, none of these were a fit, but Peregrine describes what we are all about perfectly. Those that craft their life story with intention. I've spent the last 6 years in awe of the life-changing connections and stories I have experienced while living abroad, and believe it is time for this adventure to be recognized, celebrated, and elevated to the life stage that it is. Through these interviews, I hope to connect those living internationally more deeply to both the place they are living and with themselves and those around them. We cover everything from international finances and meaning-making to global parenting and relationships to make your time abroad more intentional, edifying, and full of beauty. Find us at houseofperegrine.com, where you can find more ways to connect with the ethos of Peregrine. I hope you enjoy today's guest. Let's get started. Today I sit down with Chris Engelsman, one of the founders of European Sleeper, the so-called Goodnight train with stops in Prague, Dresden, Berlin, Amsterdam, Antwerp, and Brussels. I have followed the journey of this new rail company from its earliest days when it began as a crowdfunding project and have been delighted to see it blossom into what it is today. I am kind of a train geek, but also have been fascinated by the idea that a train company could still be started in 2024 and through what European Sleeper calls share funding, which is basically crowdfunding, but those that contribute become shareholders instead of merely backers. I love the business story as well as the backstory of Chris, who as a kid watched the trains arrive from around the world near his house, and the founding story of how he and his co-founder, Elmer van Buuren, built this company with their shared passion for night trains and with community at its core. Finally, I grew up taking road trips through the American West and find that slow train travel gives me the chance for connecting with the landscape in a similar way, while also keeping the ability to connect with my children in a different way than driving or flying. European Sleeper is now onto their next project, a night train connecting Amsterdam to Barcelona. As both a superfan of night trains and traveler, I cannot wait to watch this next route unfold. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Chris as much as I love diving in deep with him. If taking the night train is intriguing for you, or if you love startup stories, then this episode is for you. Also, if you need a trip to get you started, check out the recent BBC article about the European Sleeper train for an easy first trip that takes you from city to hiking, transporting you while you sleep. So at the end, we talk about navigating the night train like a pro. So listen until the end for that. Lastly, thank you so much for listening and following along. If this episode resonates with you, don't forget to share it. If you would like to join House of Peregrine and get your exclusive Laser 314 House of Peregrine Smart membership, you can join for €200 a year at houseofperegrine.com/marketplace. Members enjoy access to events and connection about living abroad, as well as discounts and exclusive products and resources for living well internationally. Okay, on to the episode. Welcome, Chris. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on and talk to me about the European Sleeper, your train company. I just have to start out by saying I'm so excited to talk to you because I've been following along with the journey. You guys have been building this train company in public, which I find really exciting. So I've been following along for a few years, I have to admit. I'm a fan. So what I'd love to ask you to start with is the story of how this all came about.
No, thank you very much. It's lovely to be here. And the story is quite, exciting in a way, also to us, of course. We are in the middle of it. And sometimes also unbelievable that we are already there. The story, funny enough, it's also... it has it's huge, but in the daily life, it's also very practical. That is the funny thing about
That's any startup.
Yes.
But I want to say, the way you're doing it is really interesting, and it's actually who starts a train company these days? You. So tell us how that started.
Yes, the whole thing started actually when because the large state-owned railways, they forgot about the night train products. Let's say about 10 years ago, 5 to 10 years ago, they cancelled night trains. They were not interested in night trains. And that's where Elmer and I, at the time, we didn't know each other, but we at that point thought it was frustrating. It was not necessary because the night train is such a nice way to travel. We enjoy it ourselves.
Yeah.
We find it romantic. We find it efficient. And then suddenly it turns out that it seemed to be dying out without reason. And that's where we picked up, and we.
And I want to back up really quick because you have a personal story about trains that I would love for you to tell us about growing up and seeing the trains come in and out. Can you tell us that?
Yes, the fascination for night trains, it started when I was very young. My father worked at the railways, and we lived on the railway tracks in Utrecht, in the Netherlands, where every night, end of the day, there was an international train, which consisted of I think 10 to 16 coaches with all kinds of destinations on it, including Berlin, Prague, Copenhagen, Minsk, Moscow, and that was the most fascinating part. Of course, this old colored coaches with all kinds of exotic destinations. That was fascinating me, and because my father worked at the railways, we were traveling by train for holidays as well, and preferably by night train. So that's where it started.
So it's not such a surprise that you would start a train company, actually, if you think about life.
In a way, it's not. No, it's not. And it was. I didn't work at the railways myself for a long time.
What did you do instead before you found this?
I was a project manager at infrastructure projects. It has to do with traffic and transportation, but not so much with train operations. It's useful. It's useful experience because it has to do with pushing through, with project management, with getting things done in difficult surroundings.
Yeah.
With a lot of opinions and technocrats and things like that. So that was very useful for this. For the work that I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
But technically it has nothing to do with trains. And so I stepped into a new world about 3-4 years ago.
And so you met your partner. Tell us about that story. You met your business partner. Tell us that story, if you would.
Yes, no, certainly Elmer and me, we were individually, without knowing each other, we were working on this lobby to get night trains back on track. Mm. That was really what we did.
So as an activist or as a personal, or were you working on it for a company or something?
No, as a person.
So it was like a personal passion of yours to get the night trains back up. Right.
Yes, and I tried not to be too activistic, but to interest people really, to make it a nice story. So I was explaining people on a website I produced. It still exists. I think it's in Dutch, and it explains about what the nice things about night train travel is, and how you can travel by night train to certain destinations.
Tell us what was on that website. Tell us what the argument was.
There's a number of destinations. At the time, it was with a change in Germany or in Paris. And now, at the moment, there are more direct night trains, obviously, but there's a whole lot of places where it's actually very efficient to travel by night train. So it's Munich, Zurich, it's southern France. There's also lovely night trains in the UK to Scotland.
And what are the advantages? Tell us the story. Pretend I've never heard of this. Pretend I'm coming to your website 3 to 4 years ago.
So the story is really that the night train is an adventure. It's a nice way to travel. And the night train is also, it's not that old fashioned. It's also, nowadays it's a nice way to travel because of not only because of the romance and the adventure, but also that you save a lot of time by sleeping while you travel. and you and it's not it's quite affordable. In contrast, what people think about train travel, it's certainly not always that expensive. So that was the story I wanted to tell. Let's not forget about the night train. So it was a story to consumers in a way, to inspire people about night train travel and about the advantages, but also a story to policymakers and the people, the railways really. So think about the night train as a useful product.
And you did quite a bit of travel yourself when you were in like university, or you kind of knew this resource maybe a little bit better than maybe others. Did you know that House of Peregrine has an app? It is full of resources, information, and products to make life as an international more connected and more intentional. As a member of House of Peregrine, you also now have access to exclusive discounts, products, guides, and events to make life more fun and connected. Simply download the app at houseofperegrine.com and save it to your home screen. Okay, back to the show.
Yes, I can imagine, and there's a few things to it. It's just a very nice. As a student, as a teenager, and later on also when I had kids, and it's a lovely. I always traveled by night train, and it gives one of the major advantages is that you start understanding how to book tickets, because that's one of the main difficulties if people want to travel by train in Europe, to get the right tickets and the discount fares and things like that.
I can relate to that. It's like a video game. Thing. It's like a real in-life video game.
Yes, it's amazing, right? It costs so much effort.
Yeah.
We usually say it just takes just as much time as the travel to get the tickets booked, which is a very sad thing.
Yeah.
So that helps me, and that also was something I want to explain. How can you book tickets? It's actually what the famous travel advisor, the man in seat 61.
That's right.
What he does on his website. I was doing this in a small way for night train travelers from the Netherlands. And it was also a way for me personally to get involved in the train industry. To have a reason to call people, to do networking.
Yeah.
So this whole lobby thing, it gave me sort of a position. And I was one of the few people, now it's different, but at 6-7 years ago, I was one of the few people who really believed in the night train.
Yeah.
At least in the Netherlands. And some activists were there as well, but it was not so common.
Yeah.
To try to get the night train back on track. Most people thought it was an old-fashioned thing and it would never work.
Yeah, and we didn't need it anymore, maybe because we had airplanes, more modern. And you saw them disappearing when you were using them, which gave you this, need to make them stay. And then I think at a certain point, you started European Sleeper, but also the European Union started having an interest in this, which was good timing for you, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, that's right. And we had, there was some rumor by policymakers, not only, so at the national level in many cases, because there were individual politicians who demanded the night train back on track, really in different countries. But they were not the only ones. So the lobby really worked. Also because the product is just valuable. And suddenly we heard, Elmer and I met at the time, and we had there was a lot of rumor about night trains, whether night trains would not be very important for the European railway system and things like that. So that was the point. There was a sort of a turning point about 4 or 5 years ago, when we turned out to be not the only ones that believed in the night train. So also at a very high political level, in European policy documents, the night train was suddenly the backbone of the European transportation network. So that was really a great moment where we there was not a single night train back on track because of that, but the whole perception of the night train, it changed.
So collectively, it was starting to come into the zeitgeist as well. And you guys were very well positioned to begin. So when I when I spoke to you earlier and when I've been watching your journey, I keep thinking, like, who starts a train company? Like, this seems like things that early 1900s, these things. And in this age where we see people starting software companies, it feels like you guys are melding the two, where you're building in public, you're bringing people along on your journey, but it is a very in the real world thing you guys are doing. You have to deal with infrastructure and trains and all this stuff. And I love how you've been doing it in public in a way. And I want to talk a little bit about how you decided to structure your company and why, because I think it's a really beautiful and also interesting. Again, I've enjoyed watching. So tell us about that, if you would.
Yes, what I mentioned, I think the whole perception of the night train as an important and a nice way to travel, and that changed so much, and there was a lot of support from the public. Some activists, of course, but also the public opinion was clearly fond of the night train.
We're all ready to be romanced.
That's it. Yes, even people. I talked to people on the phone who had never been on a night train, but then explained to me how nice they were. Really, so it's also it has a very good feeling to it. And but what we thought at that point is that there's a strong community drive to get night trains back on track, and that's why we decided to start the company as a cooperative. Where we want to have the community to be involved and to own the company. So we are at the moment it's the same situation. We are 100% community owned. Our seed capital is actually being raised by 3,500 to 4,000 smaller investors, people from the community who believe in this product. The one spends €250, the other 30,000, 40,000 in buying shares. So these people own the company, owning shares in the company, and may sell it later on, or may profit from it when the shares get more valuable, things like that.
That's incredible if you think about it. Like, again, I grew up in the US where we heard stories of people starting railroads or these things. And to be able to be an investor at that level in any company is really fun, but also it's, again, this idea that you can, at a pretty low price, get into not only a community, but also an actual moving thing, a railway company.
No, it's fascinating, and the enthusiasm is huge. We now sold, I think, almost 5 million in shares, so it really helps us. It's not a symbolic thing.
Yeah,
it's crucial for the startup of the company. We really need it, and it is because of the money, because you need funding to start a company like this. But it's not only that; it's also this community.
Yeah,
the feeling, the support, and sometimes very practical, because a lot of these investors, they also have knowledge about certain things. They help with setting up parts of the company. They advise us now and again. We are in the shareholder meetings, of course.
Yeah,
with them, it also keeps us sharp, and some of them are really working with us.
That's really great. And when you started that process, it was you say it's not like it's altruistic. It's a business arrangement. But where are you guys at in that process? Can people still, if we put a link, invest in European Sleeper?
Yes, there's still one. Our current share funding, we call it share funding because you buy. It's sort of a crowdfunding, but you buy shares.
Yeah, nice.
It's a little twist to it. Our current round is open. And we actually, the nice part of this round is that we dedicated some of the funds that we're raising at the moment. We dedicated it to do a dining car pilot project. So if people invest now, they would contribute to our dining car project. It's something that we find very exciting, but also business-wise, it's not yet proven. So that is something that we really need some support for, also in financial terms. And it helps us to get a pilot project with the dining car on track, which we would then run for at least 2 months in autumn.
Nice.
That's our plan now.
Well,
and that's also a good example of how this share funding and this community works.
Yeah.
Because we think a dining car is a very good. Many people ask us for that. Is it not of great added value? And then we're a little bit in doubt about the financial possibilities.
Yeah, but if the community is asking, the community can fund it. And then, this is a very iterative process, community-led. You guys are in Web3 without being in Web3. It's very, very on real world, how people are building also software, which I really enjoy. I think it's really fun to watch. So when you started with this share funding campaign 4 years ago. And now, what was the first thing that happened? When the first car that you guys got?
Yeah. No,
first route, I guess.
Sorry?
Or the first route.
Yeah, no, we decided actually 3 years ago, we just started the whole company from scratch. We were with the two of us yet, no staff and anything. And we had to, we needed some funds to raise, but we also started the very practical stuff. Get your business account at the infrastructure managers. Get contacts to have an operator available with the train drivers and all of it. Just to prepare for this, for the start of a first route to, our decision was Prague. So that was where we were 3 years ago. We were just the two of us trying to understand what needs to be done.
Yeah, because you guys have to abide by the same rules every other big company operator does, which is incredible. Okay, so you started with two of you and a crowdfunding your community.
Yes, and that's and we had actually a good idea what was needed, although we didn't understand all the implications that we're now experiencing. But
probably luckily,
at least we had some idea, and it is of course the liberalization of the railway world in Europe. The railway market is crucial to that. So there's open access regime, and this enables private parties like ours to start. Not many of them doing it because of all the obstacles. And what you see is many state-owned companies, some large bus companies stepping in, but very few of them taking the risk to start an international train line. Although legally and commercially there are possibilities. It's just that it requires a bit of stubbornness and also pushing through to get it really done. But that's where it was 3.5 years ago where we said, well, we can give it a try at least. I mean, it is possible. We see the profitable operations seems to be possible as well. That's what we thought at the time, and it's still the case, by the way. And why not give it a try, step by step, apply for paths, start this fundraising, have a simple strategy, implementation plan, and just see how far we can get. That was really what we decided, because we think it's worth it and it should be possible.
You wanted to see it in the world, so you're making it happen. I love it.
Yeah.
And you're uniquely positioned to do it with not only your background but also your work. It's a really beautiful story, actually. Like I hope you understand how I think it's just really beautiful. So now, how did you choose your first route? Once you got through, okay, this is going to be maybe possible. We can go anywhere in Europe. What was I'm sure it was also a business decision, but also, was there any part of it that was like romantic, or you just knew something someone else didn't about the first route?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure if others didn't know about these facts and figures. There's many aspects to it, actually, to this decision, which are all in different aspects. So there is the romance. We decided to go that we want to go to Czech Republic, that we want to have an East-West connection. We want to have a stop in Berlin, and we would like to have it starting in Brussels and not just in Amsterdam. That was where our decision ended. The funny thing is that Elmer has a lot of history in the Czech Republic, so there's also sort of a personal preference. The route, the line to the Czech Republic is a very beautiful, exciting route. So that's also a bit of romance to it.
Yeah.
But in the end, it must be a business decision. It should be a commercial correct decision, not being romantic only or on personal preferences. But we did some research to it, and we also in this route we saw enough demand, which is really the crucial aspect. Is there enough demand to cover the costs of a night train like this?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that way, yeah.
So the first leg that you guys, the like an inaugural route was Brussels to
Berlin. Yeah, Berlin. But that was a very practical one.
Yeah.
Also, I must say that we also really would like to have a north-south route. So between Amsterdam and Barcelona, it's our next project now. But it was also high on the agenda at the start. But this is from a real technical organization point of view. It's just impossible. It may still be, but at the time it was just not an option.
Yeah. So you guys did the thing.
There's also practical things.
Yeah, you guys did the thing to make the business sound, to prove the concept. Proof of concept is something we use all the time in software and other kinds of businesses. But you're now applying it to a rail line, which is really or a train.
So we really needed in Germany. It's relatively easy. There's open access. There's operators who can run the train. This is also the case in Czech Republic. In the Netherlands, it's okay. In Belgium, it was a bit more difficult, but it worked. Whereas in France, it will be tough.
It's a different market.
It's not a good one to start with. The other thing is we decided we don't want to compete with other initiatives. So the Austrian railways, they run a night train between Amsterdam and Vienna and Amsterdam and the Alps. It's not maybe later if it has to be like that, but it's not our aim. It's not our goal to compete with other initiatives, really.
Yeah, you're bringing something new to the market.
Yes.
Yeah, great. And so when you first started, as I understand from watching and from talking to you before, you guys started out with trains that were from, like, tell me about the first trains on your...
If you start the business like that, you also need trains, obviously.
Yep.
And that is one of the tough ones, because there's a huge lack of proper night train rolling stock.
Which makes sense because it was kind of dying out, right?
Yes. For decades, the railways, they didn't invest in proper coaches. So there was only old stuff, and it was nothing new and nothing, and too little coaches available as well. So that's also quite unpractical.
It presented a challenge for you, it sounds like.
Yes, a huge challenge. It was also the reason that we didn't start in 2022, but in 2023. There was just no rolling stock available. And we have to deal with the older coaches that are available in the rental markets. We can't afford to buy them at the moment.
So vintage?
So we are renting.
Vintage?
Yes, vintage. Yes, that's a good word.
So everyone who took your first routes got to experience vintage sleeper cars.
Yeah. And in a way, they are actually quite fine, because they're the common railway night train product. They're a little bit older than some of it, but when we started, we were actually happy to have some coaches at all.
Yeah.
And some of them are from 1955, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
They have been renovated and they're actually quite fine. Others are from 67. It really depends on the maintenance situation.
Yeah.
If that's done properly, they work.
And do they still have the original like charm to them, or have they been gutted? Like, I think I've seen some pictures of some that look pretty original, and they've just been.
Well, the outside has some of it is original, and that is actually the best.
Yeah.
And others, but from the inside, they renovated, and it should be like that, because otherwise it's
not as comfortable.
Not working. No.
Yeah, but I think that there's an elegance to that, which I think is really nice, and it gives something a little bit special. Cool. So all your early adopters got to take this ride with you on the first route, and now you've grown to tell us where you are now. So the first route was shorter, more vintage rented carriages. You're still kind of doing that, but now what have you grown to?
Yeah, we after about a year, we finally were able to extend the route to the initial plan of running to Prague.
Nice.
That had to do with track works. In the first year, it was therefore impossible to get a slot on this route between Berlin and Prague. And now from March 2024, we finally we're now running to Prague all the way. That's crucial for the whole product, because Prague is more appealing, the route is more appealing. Actually, it's commercially much better, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the costs are like 20% higher, and we expect 40 or 50 or 60% more passengers. So that's really a no-brainer from a commercial point of view. And the other important part is that we're able to rent much better couchette coaches, which are more reliable. They have air conditioning. They have more comfort to it. So that is also a big relief. So at least we're mixing the coaches now, and we are more flexible.
Yeah.
In terms of reliability.
So now I would say you've moved from your early adopters who will kind of go with you on the journey to now you're opening to a larger audience in a way.
Yeah, certainly. Yes. And we are also an important part of that is the process that we are going through to have our train sold in many ticket platforms. We started with our own website, and what you mentioned before is actually very true. We are in two worlds in a way. We are a commercial machine, right? We must sell tickets. We are on social media. We are sending out newsletters, and on the other hand, we are in this old-fashioned railway world and industry, which is still very technocratic and there's a huge difference. So we on the other hand, we are of course in the software development, the website applications and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's very important to combine this, and also on that side, so on the commercial and the development side, we're taking big steps. And crucial aspect is that we are available in a variety of ticket shops throughout Europe. So commercial ticket shops, or the ticket shops of the sales channels of the traditional railways.
Yeah, that's big. So not only can people buy tickets for your trains on your website, now they can find them on more mainstream platforms.
Yeah.
And that's a big business step as well. So to go from this more niche user to a larger audience.
Yes.
Or ridership, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. And that's just barely happening. We're recording in April, the beginning of April. So you've just launched this, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And I think a subsequent BBC article just came out a few days ago, which we'll link below, kind of giving a great synopsis of how you can use your trains in very clever ways. And I think it's just really a testament to how far you guys have come in all these years. I have to say, from watching myself, I'm very proud of you guys and excited to bring it to our audience, because I think it's kind of delightful to watch something you guys iterate and bring your community along, and in doing in an industry that just isn't really built for that. So
Yeah.
congratulations. So I want to talk now, with the time we have left, about the ins and outs of train travel for if someone's never done this before. Like, what are the rules, the tricks? Can I bring my dog? Like these sorts of things that can really make a difference for people who've never tried it before and maybe want to.
No, that's great. And the night train is a very nice way to travel, right? You step in the evening, you get on the train, and there's immediately this sort of excitement of being on your way, leaving your own city, watching out the window,
and then transporting and waking up in another place.
Yeah, no, true. Meeting other people is also nice. I mean, there's the stewards giving you a warm welcome, explaining where you will be. You can discover your compartment.
And that can I ask you that? So when you buy your ticket, you get to choose three, as I understand it, three different categories. Explain those for those who don't know.
Yes, we have seats on the train. So there's one or two coaches where we have compartments with seats. There are 6 seats in one compartment. And those are really for some people travel with us between Brussels and Amsterdam, for instance. There it makes sense to be on a seat. But there's also overnight travelers who would like to save money and think it's good enough for them to be in a seat. Sometimes it's group of backpackers or interrailers. They find it all fine and they're used to it. It's like being on a bus overnight.
Right. Okay.
It's quite it's comfortable, but it's not the essence of the night train travel. The other category is the couchette car. These are where you have bunks where you can sleep. They are folded down during the day, where you can sit with your party or with other travelers in the compartment. And these compartments have 5 or 6 places in the compartment. So there's a corridor where you have sliding doors, and there is 10 compartments in a row in each coach. And these compartments have 5 or 6 people where you can sit.
So if you're traveling alone, you could be with others.
Yes, if you choose. So you can also book the compartment as private, but that's obviously more expensive.
Yeah.
But some people love it, others hate it. They will never do it. But there's also very nice experiences in people meeting each other in a compartment like that.
I'm sure there's a whole movie or 5 in there of people meeting each other on the night train.
That's right. And there's a table if you would like to. Some people put up the table to do some games or play, have something to eat. So
you can bring food on with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do sell some snacks and drinks, but it's all allowed to have bring your own food.
Okay, so you bring your own party, kind of, in a way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. And then later at night, you can fold the bunks up, and they are turned in the couchette beds where you have your bedding.
And that's provided. I'm going to ask all the questions. That's provided. You don't bring your own bedding.
That's all inclusive. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not your own bedding. You can order your breakfast if you like at the website or with the stewards, and they will bring it in the morning. But that's extra. Then at some point, if you decide to go to sleep, you close the curtains, lock the door, and you will the next morning, or if you want to look out the window secretly during the night, is also I like that, to see where you are. If there's a small station or a small town where you pass through, it adds to the romance, in my opinion. But maybe most people don't care and they just sleep. Waking up the next morning, or in Berlin, or along the Elbe Valley, Elbe River Valley, or in Dresden, and see a different. You're suddenly in a different environment, in a different place, in a different country.
Different language, yeah. Everything is different. Now, can I ask you a technical question? So when they stop, how long does the train stop? Can you get off, kind of look at the stars or something and jump back on, or is that not allowed?
Well, it is allowed, but you have to be careful not to miss it. It depends. There's a few stops that are a bit longer, but usually it's a few minutes.
Okay, so just
it's
don't go too long.
No. You can bring your dog. You asked that too. You can bring your dog as long as you book a private compartment.
Okay.
Not to have the risk to disturb others.
Right. Yeah. So in the seats, you can't bring your dog, but you have to have a private compartment for the dog.
Yes, both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The third category is the sleeping coach, which is the most luxurious option, where you have 3 beds, and these are beds with actual mattresses. So they're more, there's more space. You have a place to sit also during the night. And these are the more luxury options. And there's a duvet included. There's breakfast is included. There's a wash basin in the compartment. And not yet the toilet. That's for our next level, coaches. But the toilet is as it is in all coaches. There's toilets in the corridor.
Okay, and in that case, there's 3 beds. So the first one is six places to sleep. And
yes.
The next level that includes breakfast is 3 beds per.
That's right.
Coach.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then that is just basically a luxury option. It's a little bit less people, more space, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Thanks for walking me through this. I feel like I can book a trip maybe after this, really. And I hope other people do.
You're welcome. Yeah.
So when we spoke before, I asked you who your ideal person is, and you said everybody, which I really liked. So anyone from like people who are backpacking across Europe and all the way to families or older people who are retired and they just want to take a trip. So what I want to ask you a little bit about is traveling with like a family, because that's my current situation. So if you want to go with kids and a dog and you want to go somewhere, is there anything you recommend, since you've done it yourself, that you would recommend to our listeners?
Yes, no, I think the night train is very suitable for families. I mean, it's just, kids love it. It's really the way to travel, because it's such an excitement for children. The only thing is it's difficult to get them to sleep because of this excitement.
Yeah.
But the good part is that if as soon as they sleep, they tend to sleep all the way through. Where adults I wake up when the train stops, for instance. But I always notice that the children, they just sleep and they wake up relatively late. It's very suitable for children. Because it's such a nice way. And there's also a possibility to move around. I mean, you can walk through the corridor, you can walk the whole train, you can stretch your legs. It's so much more comfortable in that sense than being in a plane or in a car for hours, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. But I would really recommend, if you are with a family, to book a private compartment. That you have the space for your own. It makes it easier for the children, and you can meet other people in the corridor anyway, if you like to. So
yeah,
the private compartment would be a good thing.
Yeah. And if you have a family with more than one child, can you book the 2 together? So if you have, in my case, I have 3 children, 2 adults and a dog. So could we arrange to have 2 compartments next to each other if we wanted to do the 3?
Yeah, I don't know if you need it, but that could be arranged. Yeah, if you book it like that, and if it's not, you can contact our customer services. So perfect. Usually it would be next to each other anyway.
Okay. There's a lot of controversy going on. I don't know if you've seen it with airlines not placing families together, and you having to pay extra.
Yes, you have to pay extra. Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Well,
so you would be placed in one compartment anyway, and the next compartment would be booked next to that compartment. If in the case that it's not, we will try to replace it. It could be that the train is completely full, and you have the last 2 places not being.
Yeah, of course, it's always
next
possible
to each other, but it's not our strategy.
Yeah, and I always think, so someone else is going to sit next to my child for a 10-hour flight. and you want me to pay more to take care of them. So it's really funny, but also it presents this idea that you have more freedom. When you're bringing your own food, you're not going through security.
Yes.
It feels more free with an already kind of complicated thing of taking little people on transportation. So it's a nice idea.
And I have one thing I wanted to mention, but actually I find very nice about these more old-fashioned trains is that you can open the window.
Yeah.
Most trains having serious air conditioning, you can't open the window. We still have it, and it really adds value that you have fresh air. You can watch. Especially that when the train rides along in beautiful landscapes along the river valleys, and it's such a nice way to experience the landscapes or the cityscapes that you're passing. So
it makes me think you're thinking of your childhood. These people arriving, and it's really beautiful. And on an airplane, you obviously can't do that. And on new trains,
well, that would not be wise. No.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. So
it's the same on a high speed train. Which I mean, a high speed train is of course to Paris. You're in 4 hours in Paris is really nice.
Yeah,
but you can't open the window. You can't walk around so easily. That's the romance of this old fashioned. International train travel that's really on night trains like ours.
Yeah. And it reminds me of taking car trips as a kid through the Intermountain West of the United States, where I would roll down the window and see all these beautiful landscapes out my window. Like, I think it brings a certain something to the actual travel. You're more connected. Cool. So I'm just trying to ask, I'm trying to get all my questions out. I feel like I get to go to the source for everybody. But tell me about the future for this. So when you finish with your share funding campaign, what's next? New routes? You mentioned Barcelona.
Yes, there's several ways that we are actually, we're hardly a startup anymore. We're thinking about the scale up phase. What are our next steps? So a new destinations are very important, and Barcelona is hopefully going to be the next one. It will be a huge project with a huge impact on the train traffic situation in Europe, because there's just nothing like it at the moment. It's also a complicated one, and with that, there would also be the huge step for our company that we have to have our invest in our own rolling stock. We need additional coaches. We need coaches with more comfort, more our own look and feel. In the luxury option, we would definitely have a toilet in the compartment, for instance, and a shower probably as well.
Yeah. So you're looking to roll out more of a luxury branded, like more of your own, like you're coming into your own, what you want to bring into the market.
Yes. Nice. Yes. I think for the new route, we need it anyway.
Yeah.
And it's also part of our strategy to really improve on this night train product. Not to make it more luxury only, but also to make it more modern, more modern look and feel, more privacy options, also for the budget traveler. So not just a luxury product. That's not the way we want to go.
Yeah.
But a more modern product for all the potential passengers.
Nice. So the dream is to start in Amsterdam and end up in Barcelona the next morning. Do I have that right?
Yes, that's we are now discussing the timetable with all the infrastructure managers. They will have to provide us the right slots to get this timetable fixed, and that we would think that departure around 6:00 in Amsterdam, let's say 10:00 in Brussels, more or less, a little bit earlier, I think, and then through the night to southern France, Avignon, Montpellier, Perpignan in the early morning, and then late morning 11. Arrival in Barcelona. That would be ideal.
Okay, sold. So when? No. Sounds great. Can I go tomorrow? No. When? I mean, obviously it's a huge project, but when are you hoping? Like, what is your dream to have it launched?
Yeah, the main issue now is is we need to get these coaches, and we need to get the financing for these coaches. So we need investors, and this is not going to be by the community or by the crowd, but we need professional investors to invest in this rolling stock. So that is the critical part, and we are thinking 2026 at the moment. That is maybe end of 2025, hopefully, if things go quick. Otherwise, in 26 would also be good.
Okay. So in terms of funding, you're actively seeking fund or investors for the trains, the actual coaches themselves.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of interest from potential investors, but we haven't signed yet. And you have to think of the banks giving loans, but also institutions like the European Investment Bank, or national funds, investment funds, or also private funding by family offices.
Yeah,
so
nice.
We're in talks.
So this is more like your standard investment, have to be kind of qualified, know what they're doing. And that is something that every business knows, but I love how you guys started with this community, €250 investment. I think that's such a beautiful story.
No, and there's also thinking behind it, because we think that we would never have, we couldn't have get this far, and also we would never be attractive to the larger investors if we would not have started, and if we would not have been able to show that it's possible, and that we can run a train and it can be profitable. So that is really the important first step, supported by the community, is really crucial. Also for the steps to come.
Yeah, you got the MVP and the audience.
That's it.
Yeah, well, that is really exciting. And I think I'll be looking forward to the Barcelona train as well. I think my family and I will be taking a trip on the new Prague line soon. And I think I just want to, again, commend you guys. It's so fun been watching your journey. Is there anything else you want people to know? Is there something that you want to put out there in the world?
Well, there's a funny thing actually that I would like to mention, is that when you take a train, people may think about city trips only. And our train is very suitable for city trips to Dresden, to Prague, to Berlin, but also to Brussels and Amsterdam and Antwerp. But we have one very interesting and extraordinary destination, which is actually called Saxon Switzerland. It's not in Switzerland, but it's in between south of Dresden in Germany. And also on the Czech side of the border, there's a beautiful, it's a beautiful nature reserve. And our train stops at a very decent time in the morning, 8:30, I think. It stops there in a small town, Bad Schandau it's called, and it's such an exciting place because of the river valley, because of the rock formations that you can even see from the train. But it's also easy to hike there. It's really a hiking and outdoor place. And that's also something you can reach by train. And especially if you travel by night train from Brussels or Amsterdam, it's just a night away. And it doesn't require any difficulties. You don't have to rent a car, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice.
It's an exciting destination.
So you could just leave, get some outdoor time, spend the day there, and then come back.
Even a day, I would recommend to have a few hotel nights, but even on the day, it would be a lovely day out. Yeah.
I feel like it's a life hack to be able to live in Amsterdam and spend the night, go hiking, and then come back. It reminds me of where I'm from, in Salt Lake City,
Nice.
where you can hike in 5 minutes. But it's a life hack for me to be able to reach nature that way by train. So thank you for that tip. And I just want to congratulate you again. Thank you for coming on. I hope everyone will consider the night train as part of their travel when they're here. We'll put the links to everything in the show notes so people can reach you. Is there anywhere else? I follow you on Instagram, I believe. Is there anywhere else people can find you? Your website, Instagram?
Yes, the website. We have, of course, a Facebook and Twitter account, but I would recommend the website and the newsletter.
Okay.
That's where we bring new aspects as first.
Okay. So Facebook, which for me is the same as Instagram, and the newsletter.
Maybe.
Yeah. And I get the newsletter, and it's actually really, really fun to keep up to date. So if people are interested in this, I would really recommend the newsletter because that's how I also stay connected. So we'll put a link to everything. Thank you for your time and for putting this really fun company together and letting us watch. And yeah, I want to thank you for your time again.
No, thank you. It was very pleasant to be here.
All right, everyone. We'll put everything in the show notes and feel free to follow along, and we'll all be waiting for that Barcelona route.
Okay, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed our show. For the latest insights on living internationally, join us at houseofperegrine.com to find out how you can connect with our community. Let's craft our life story with intention together.